Sensory testing is a unique science actually, and you have to get into a consumer's mind and then have that somehow translate into a rating, and sometimes that's difficult to do. So when a consumer or a panelist rates a food product, we have to scale it in some way. And the scales that we use have been around for a long time. Actually, one of the scales that we use was developed by the Army a long time ago. It's still the scale we use today, and it works fairly well, but there's room for improvement definitely. And so I work with a colleague of mine, Linda Bartasciuk, and her body of research has really been looking at scaling techniques and the way that we measure people's response to both liking and intensity.
Conventional measures of palatability basically are oriented toward one food product at a time. So for example, maybe you want to study tomatoes, maybe you want to study strawberries, but your scale goes from 0 to say 100, and 100 is the best tomato or the best strawberry you ever ate. The problem is, what if the best tomato is different for different people? Now we can't make the comparison. So what we do is we take the tomato palatability into a much bigger world of all pleasure. So the top of this scale is the greatest pleasure you've ever experienced. For example, spending time with your loved ones. Now, compared to that, we can see how tomatoes rank. And we can actually, one of the side effects of this is we can pick the people who love tomatoes and the people who really don't care much about tomatoes. They have very different preferences. One of the advantages of the kind of scaling we're using is that it was devised to solve a very particular problem. We want to be able to compare across people, across groups. We need to be able to do this because otherwise we can't generate, let's say, the ideal tomato that suits everybody because different groups have different preferences. Since we can now tell what the best tomato is to different groups of people, we can advise Florida breeders and growers of tomatoes how to grow crops specific to different population groups.